Let us understand what is photoelasticity. Photoelasticity is one of the experimental methods for determining stress distribution in a material, especially in areas where mathematical methods are inconvenient. Now, this method is also used to measure the stress concentration in asymmetrical geometries. Photoelasticity was first discovered in 1816 by Sir David Brewster. In 1891, his ideas were considered by C. Wilson. In 1920s, Ernest G. Cocker generalized its use in engineering. From there on, we started using the polariscope as an experimental device to measure stress concentration and identify the stresses that are present in the photoelastic model. So before starting with the photoelasticity, let us understand what is birefringence. Birefringence is the optical property of a material having a refractive index that depends on the polarization and propagation direction of light. Any photoelastic model exhibits a birefringence property. A material with a transparent and a glass type material exhibits a birefringent property where stress concentration can be easily found out. Now, before going to the actual polariscope, let us understand what is polarized light. Now, polarized light is a light which passes through the polarizing lens, and all the components of the light have been blocked except the single plane of propagation light, with which the polarizing filter will pass the light. Now, as you can see here, the light source where the light is passing inside the polarizer cuts off all the lights and passes the light with single plane of propagation. Now you can see here the light is passing in a single plane of propagation. Now visualizing further, here you can see there are two planes of propagation which is entering the polarizer, where this polarizer cuts off the lights in other direction and passes only with single plane of propagation. Now you would have understood how a polarized light is obtained. Now let us understand what is polariscope. The polariscope is an optical inspection device used to detect internal stresses in glass and other transparent materials, such as plastics, synthetic resins, and so on. The photoelastic models should be a transparent one where the stress concentration can be easily seen. Now, basically, a polariscope consists of a light source, polarizer, photoelastic model, and an analyzer. Now, as you can see here, there is a light source, a polarizer, which cuts off the lights and passes the light with single plane of propagation, which enters the photoelastic model, which is stressed initially. Now, the light that is passing from the photoelastic model enters the analyzer, where the analyzer cuts off the light passing from the photoelastic model because the analyzer is kept perpendicular to the polarizer. Now, you can see here this photoelastic model acts as a full wave plate where the property of the light does not change. That means to say the light that is entering or the rays that is entering from polarizer, the property of this light, polarized light, is same as the light that has been emitted from or coming out from the photoelastic model. Now let us understand what is the classification of polariscope. Polariscope is classified into two types. One is plane polariscope, the other one is circular polariscope. Now this plane polariscope consists of a light source, polarizer, and analyzer where the photoelastic model or stress model is kept in between them. But a circular polariscope consists of a light source, polarizer, analyzer. In between polarizer and analyzer, you have a stress model. Along with it, you have something called as quarter wave plates. These quarter wave plates retards the rays by quarter wavelength. That is why it is called as quarter wave plate. You also have something called as half wave plate and full wave plate. As in case of plane polariscope, the photoelastic model itself acts as a full wave plate. Now this quarter wave plate retards the light by quarter wavelength, where it gives the fast axis and slow axis. When you consider fast axis and slow axis, the light passes through a circularly polarized light. That means to say you have elliptically polarized light and circular polarized light. But the major advantage of using circular polarized light is you will reduce the isoclinics in the photoelastic model. So this is what the difference between a plane polariscope and a circular polariscope is. Now let us understand the working of a plane polariscope. There is a light source, you have a polarizer. This polarizer is placed with a vertical plane of propagation, right? So as you can see here, when the light passes through the polarizer, it passes as a single plane of propagation. Now when it hits the model or when it passes along the stressed model here, since the model acts as a full wave plate, there is no change in the polarized light which exit, and the property of this polarized light is same even after the light that is passed from the stress model. Now it enters the analyzer, where this analyzer is kept perpendicular to the polarizer. The light that is parallel to the plane of propagation to polarizer is cut off, and you can observe the fringes here. These are the fringes that you can observe here, where you have both isoclinics as well as isochromatics. See, these are the isoclinics and these are the isochromatics. You have two information to understand. Either you can find out the stress distribution using isoclinics or isochromatics. In order to, since isoclinics and isochromatics are overlapping with each other, we need to cut down or we need to prevent the isoclinic formation. That is why we go for circular polariscopes. Now let us understand the working principle of a circular polariscope. Now there is a circular polariscope which has a light source here, a polarizer which is kept vertically upwards. Now when the light passes through the polarizer, which enters a quarter wave plate. Now as you can see here, once when the light is passing through the quarter wave plate, now you can see here the light with two plane of propagation, which gives a circular polarized light. So at the end of this, see, you can observe here, at the end of this you get a circular polarized light. Now why do I require the circularly polarized light? Because in order to prevent the isoclinics. Now once when the circularly polarized light is entering the stress model, as I told, this acts as a full wave plate. So whatever the property of the light that is incidenting on the stress model will be the same when it passes out from this stress model. Now again, this circularly polarized light enters this quarter wave plate where it becomes a plane polarized light. Now what exactly is happening here? In quarter wave plate, this light rays or this polarized light splits into two components that is called as fast axis and slow axis. Now since it is getting retarded here, you get circularly polarized light. Now the quarter wave plate, again, if it is crossed, this circularly polarized light is cut off and you get a polarized light with single plane of propagation. Now when the light passes through this analyzer, which is kept perpendicular to the polarizer, as you can see, you get the isochromatic fringes where you don't have any isoclinics. It is very simple way of or convenient method to find out stress concentration in the component. So you can see only the isochromatics, not the isoclinics. Now you can just count the number of fringes here and find out material fringe value and stress concentration in a given component. And this particular component is a circular disc with diametrical compression. Now we look into the optical arrangements in polariscope. Now in an optical polariscope, you have two types of polariscope here. One is plane polariscope, one is circular polariscope. Now you can see there are various arrangements in a polariscope. Since we are going with a convenient one, we have polarizer and analyzer crossed. In a plane polariscope, we don't have any quarter wave plates. So when both the polarizer and analyzer are crossed here, you get a dark background. As you can see here, you have a dark background with a bright field here. So I can see the isochromatics and identify the stress concentration at any point given. Now coming back to your circular polariscope, let us understand the configuration and arrangements of polarizer, analyzer, quarter wave plates. Now first we'll look into the first condition. Let us consider only a crossed condition here where the polarizer and the analyzer are crossed together. Similarly, the quarter wave plates are crossed here. So now since the plane of propagation are different for each of the case, the background that we get is a dark background. Similarly, as in case of your plane polariscope, you get the same thing. Now coming back to your polarizer and analyzer, which is parallel here. Now again, the quarter wave plates are kept parallel. You get dark background. See, you get dark backgrounds. So now again in the circular polariscope, you have cross polariscope and quarter wave plates parallel where you get bright background. As you can see, observe here, you have bright background here, which is the model is stressed here. You can easily identify the isochromatics here. Now coming back, the last condition, the parallel and crossed. Now polarizer and analyzer are kept parallel here and quarter wave plates are crossed. That means to say 90-degree perpendicular to each other. So you get a bright background in this fashion. Now when do I consider a bright background? When do I consider a dark background? If you see here, you have isochromatics in dark field, isochromatics in bright field. Now since you have in the dark field, whatever the bright field that you have here will be a dark field in the bright isometrics or isochromatics. Now when I consider a dark field, the isochromatics are bright here. In the bright field, you have isochromatics as a dark line. Now how do I consider this? Now when I'm counting the number of isochromatics while determining the fringe patterns here or identifying the material fringe value, I count the fringe orders in such a way that I'll start from this end as 0, 1, 2 and so on. Now, while coming to the bright field, it is not the same. What I'll do is I have to count the number of fringes from 0.5, 1.5, 2.5. So I call this as 0.5, 1.5, and 2.5. This is how I'm going to read the isochromatic fringes in a bright field and dark field. Here you can see you have both isoclinics and isochromatics. So isoclinics and isochromatics are overlapped. So that means to say it will be very difficult for you to identify the fringes as well as determine the stress concentration and material fringe value for any given component. So that is the importance of understanding only the isochromatics. So these isoclinics gives you the details of contours on the principal stresses, but isochromatics gives you the direction of the stress or the fringes. So thank you for watching the video. In the lab, we'll discuss about what is known as polariscope, how do we conduct the experiment. Thank you so much for watching the